Ever stand on your own driveway and hear the people who swear they're there to protect your home quietly joke about crushing you under fines until you lose it all? Because that's exactly where my story starts. I'm talking about the HOA, the smiling guardians of curb appeal. Turns out nice neighborhood is just a polite way of saying we control you if you let us. And look, I'm not some clueless homeowner. I spent 30 years as a surveyor. Property lines, deeds, easements. I've lived and breathed them. Still nothing. And I mean nothing. Prepare me for the circus that rolled into town the day my wife Linda and I moved into Willowbrook Estates. We'd earned the house, sold the family business, paid cash, no mortgage, no strings. We thought we'd finally found a place to grow old without anyone telling us how to live on our own land. That idea didn't last long. Linda dreamed of a vegetable garden. I wanted a workshop, just space to build things again without deadlines, invoices, or someone watching the clock. The first 6 months felt perfect. Mornings smelled like coffee and sawdust. Afternoons were quiet. Neighbors waved. The biggest dispute on the block was whether Linda's tomatoes were bigger than Mrs. Patterson's. Then she showed up. Vivian. Imagine a real estate brochure given human form. Perfect hair. Spotless white BMW. Clipboard permanently attached to her arm. We work very hard to protect property values, she said, smiling like it was rehearsed. That smile should have been my warning sign. 2 weeks after that welcome, a letter arrived. $150. Fine. My workshop. Aesthetic violation. According to Vivian. The next week, another notice, this time for Linda's tomatoes. Apparently growing food was now an eyesore. Then a neighbor bought one of my handmade tables, and suddenly I was accused of running a business. Every envelope meant another fine. Linda, who'd survived 30 years of teaching teenagers without blinking, started flinching every time the mailbox lid clanged shut. Still, I paid those early fines. Worst move I could have made. Paying once is like bleeding in shark-filled water. That's when I learned Vivian's HOA wasn't about rules at all. It was about money. Homeowners who couldn't keep up with the fake violations and stack fees panicked and sold, and who always seemed ready with an offer. The board itself. Flipping homes, pocketing profit. I suspected it, but suspicion isn't proof. That came when the county sent an inspector named Rodriguez to investigate my illegal workshop. I laid it all out, permits, insurance, inspections. He looked at me, leaned in, and said quietly, "Same person calls every week. We've got real problems. This isn't one of them." I almost hugged the man. That night, I started combing through Vivian's own records. And wouldn't you know it, her beautiful back deck had exactly 0 permits. When the county showed up to inspect her place, I watered my lawn slowly, savoring every second as she unraveled on her front porch. Rodriguez called later. Deck had to come down or get permitted properly. That felt like justice. But Vivian doesn't lose gracefully. 2 days later, emergency HOA meeting. New rule. All workshops must be hidden behind $5,000 worth of approved fencing. Funny thing, mine was the only one visible from the street. I stood up, calm as ever. That rule doesn't apply retroactively, I said, unless you're looking to invite a lawsuit. Her face drained of color. After that, things escalated fast. Mrs. Patterson spotted someone photographing my house after midnight. I installed cameras. The next night, I caught Vivian's assistant creeping around with a tape measure. They wanted a war. Fine. Vivian hired a surveyor, her old business partner. Claimed my fence crossed the property line by 2 feet. Tried slapping me with a $10,000 fine. What she forgot was that I still owned my survey equipment. By morning, I'd staked every inch. My fence, 3 feet inside my boundary. But their clubhouse, built 3 feet onto my land. Parking lot 2. 5 years of HOA meetings, parties, and wine nights, all on stolen ground. I checked the statutes. Commercial use, back rent owed. By my math, $120,000. The notice I delivered to Vivian's office was art. Demand for back rent, certified surveys, legal citations. I could hear her screaming before I reached the elevator. Did she stop? Not a chance. She went harder. Daily violation letters for grass length, hose placement, Nonsense. Another meeting. Threats of costly architectural reviews for everyone. Only this time, the neighborhood was starting to see through her. Suddenly, people I barely knew were paying attention. That knowledge spread fast. Neighbors started trading stories in low voices, then louder ones. Turns out Vivian had managed to make an enemy out of half the block. That's when the anonymous flyers showed up. Dramatic accusations plastered everywhere. Claims I was tanking property values, operating some shadow business, you name it. Lies, all of it. And that's when my wife Linda, the quiet, soft-spoken teacher, turned into a full-blown detective. She laid the flyers next to Vivian's glossy real estate mailers. Same paper stock, same font, same faint printer streaks. Linda notices everything. She didn't rant. She didn't panic. She got to work. One evening, I walked into the kitchen and found the table covered in shredded HOA meeting minutes. She'd pulled them straight from Vivian's trash and taped them back together piece by piece like a crime scene puzzle. 8 months of notes, target lists, financial projections, and there it was, my name circled. Priority 1, forced foreclosure. Sell to a developer. Big profit. Our pain was their business model. And it got worse. They'd always known the clubhouse sat over the property line. There were emails about it. Kickbacks. Secret amendments to the rules to cover it up. Every fine, every threat, every violation, all of it illegal. That's when I called Bob from 3 houses down. Corporate attorney. HOA law specialist. When he saw what we'd uncovered, he didn't frown or hesitate. He smiled. They documented everything, he said, and they saved the receipts. Bob turned his basement into our war room. Whiteboards, timelines, case law taped to the walls. We built the case brick by brick. I resurveyed the land. Linda cataloged evidence. Mrs. Patterson supplied snickerdoodles and surveillance notes. The strategy was simple. Let Vivian keep digging while we gathered enough dirt to bury her legally. I set stakes so precise you could have aligned satellites with them. Bob ran the numbers. Nearly $130,000 in rent penalties and damages. We rallied the neighborhood. Statements poured in. Stories matched. Vivian responded by escalating. She hired a private investigator to sit outside our house. Filed noise complaints during Linda's chemo appointments. Yeah, she somehow found out about that. Timed the harassment for the hours she knew I wouldn't be home. That was the lowest point. Like getting punched by someone who pretended to care about fairness. But Linda never backed down. She kept fighting. The evidence stack grew taller. Bob looked at the full spread and said quietly, "This isn't just about stopping them. This is about making sure no one ever pulls this again." Then Vivian got sloppy. Sent a gas inspector. Her boyfriend. My cameras caught him messing with my electrical panel. Then the board tried to buy me out, 20% under market, if I dropped everything. I recorded it, every word. Final straw, she filed a false police report, claimed I threatened her. The sheriff watched the footage, listened to me, and you could see it click. He knew exactly who the problem was. At the next HOA meeting, the place was packed. Residents, reporters, even law enforcement. I stood up and laid it all out. Surveys, photos, documents. You're sitting in a building this HOA never owned. I told them. Bob read the minutes aloud. When he finished, the room erupted. Calls for removal. Shouting. Votes. Vivian tried to scream over it, but Deputy Martinez stepped in. "Ma'am," he said, "you may want to save that for your attorney." The applause followed her out the door. I could still hear it that night. 2 weeks later, a new board. Vivian gone. House sold. Settlement. $85,000. Formal apology. Half went to legal fees. Half to cancer research. Linda started improving. Funny how removing one toxic person can actually help you heal. We used what was left to start a community fund. Real repairs. Real help. No fake fines. Neighbors helping neighbors again. Our workshop became everyone's workshop. But the Rayall win went beyond our street. State lawmakers used our case to pass protections. I helped other families fight back. Because justice isn't about revenge. It's about refusing to let bullies win by default. Was it worth it? Every sleepless night? Absolutely. Sometimes the best revenge is standing your ground and letting them destroy themselves, one document mistake at a time. So tell me, has anyone ever tried to run you out? A boss? A neighbor? Did you fight or fold? Ever watch someone implode because they couldn't stop pushing? Drop your story below. Sometimes the only way to win is to outlast the storm and keep every single receipt.